Hey, hello, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another review of sorts of an episode with.
Jherick the Jackass. Oops. Dyslexia at work.
Yes, he is. Remember, Jherick, reverse or inverted. I don't know which in a fucking camera or mirror, but that's what we are with the camera coming back at us. Or reversed.
We are filming from Bizarro Universe, #1 worstest show on internet.
Yeah, and if you can tell by my voice, I'm pretty sure it's coming in through the microphone there. I'm still under the weather. Well, not really under the weather, but allergies are still a bugger and a pain in my butt. Ugh. So, hopefully we'll be able to get back to stuff soon. Because I'll admit, if I'm still dealing with this within our coming reviews, I'm just going to be me. I know I love doing the characters for you guys, but I don't have all my voices under control yet, so,
Don't
until
worry.
I get my voice back, yeah, probably not going to be a thing.
Don't worry, children. It's not the Kumi cough. We're too pedestrian for that shit.
Well, let me see. That sounds bad. I sort of sound like myself, and now I sound more like a grandma.
Oh my god, it's Bobbity! Quick, somebody call Vegeta!
No, that's not bad. Oh god, even my Bobbity's bad.
Ooh, does that make me Deborah? Do I get to be the most fabulously gay demon lord ever?
You could, but anyway, getting back under control. We are here to talk about, I know I didn't bring the cover over, but it's Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Death of the Undying. Yes, we are back with another really great episode. So the synopsis of this one is, if you guys remember, Riza Hawkeye had met up with Gluttony. Gluttony starts to attack her. Luckily, and nothing is facing Gluttony, obviously, because he's a homunculus. Luckily, Sergeant Kane Fury comes up, starts helping her blast away. Nothing doing. And then, Roy Mustang, being concerned for his team and doesn't want another General Hughes, comes in with a blazing warrior, and literally blazing warrior, snapping his fingers and flame, and Gluttony goes flying out the church.
Shantae.
And then the chase is on, where Alphonse wants to go help because he learned of the plan from Ling Yao, and Ling Yao was disappointed because Alphonse won't tell him his secret yet, but he promises to tell him once he returns. Won't that be a great conversation? But either way, Alphonse decides to join Colonel Mustang, Riza Hawkeye, and Jean Havoc, which they leave poor Fallman there. Poor Vato Fallman gets left behind. It's like he's standing there in the frame of the animation, and then it's just like in the car, bye Fallman.
Yeah, come back when you're a main character.
Which is funny. It's Kyle. Oh, sorry. It's Kyle Bear. Kyle Bear usually is a main character in quite a few things. Sadly, I wish Gohan would get a bit more appreciation, but that is not your fault. Voice actress who does Gohan, who I know is the voice actress also of Goku, so whatever your name is, and which I apologize, I don't know your name, but and also Kyle Bear, so it's not your guys' fault. Blame that on the writers in Toriyama.
Goku time.
Indeed. But either way, they all get together to pursue Barry the Chopper, or what's left of his body, and Barry the Chopper is running after it, wanting to kill his body. You have, Jean Havoc, Riza Hawkeye, and Roy Mustang all in the car chasing Barry the Chopper and his body around. Alphonse lets it slip after learning what happened, that Riza Hawkeye had a run-in with a homunculus. This shocks everybody, because everybody in the car believes homunculus shouldn't exist, but they do. Alphonse gives them the rundown.
Yeah, and where should Barry's original body just happen to run off to? Why, the third laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Jean Havoc's reaction. It's like, well, should we go back to base? And it's like, the idiot just ran in there. It's like, yes, what a perfect distraction. Fucking Roy Mustang.
Yep, and they use it to their advantage to go and explore. Sadly, it's a very dark, depleted, empty, and scary-looking basement of Laboratory 3, and in classic fashion, which again everybody knows you should never do, but it always happens. You split up, and Gene Havoc and Roy Mustang go into one of the first rooms. They don't they don't find Barry, but it looks like one of the rooms where there were a bunch of chimera and other experiments. If you guys remember in the previous scenes, if you've watched where we're at, where gluttony, lust, and envy were all hanging out in. And shouldn't you know it, as Gene Havoc and Roy Mustang are talking it over, who should appear but lust?
Yeah, and you forgot to say it correctly. It's let's split up, gang.
Do.
Like zoinks, Roy Mustang. I don't think we should be here.
Shut up! You're not in this role, Scooby. Gene, discipline this dog.
But
not that way.
But hey, going from one bad analogy to another, you got a creepy laboratory used for God only knows what kind of experiments, and an inhuman monster about to try to chop up 2 military officers.
You know what it made me think of? Mr. Napier, I couldn't help anything from the nerves in your face. You see what I have to work with here.
No. You know what it reminded me of?
What?
It's a very powerful weapon against humans. It's a Jill sandwich. Jill sandwich.
Jill sandwich. Whoa, Jill sandwich. Whoa.
I mean, come on. Forbidden laboratory, hidden in a seemingly innocuous part of town, an inhuman monster trying to kill military officials. I mean, fuck throwing Albert Wesker saying, Chris.
Well, if you were to give me that thing since you took it there, Jherick, I would say Aniplex greater than Capcom. Because at least Aniplex is still doing good fucking shows.
Indeed.
But either way, they start to question Lust. Gene Havoc says Lust's code name or name that she was undercover with, which was Solaris. And, there's a joke about how Gene Havoc likes them big boobs. I can't help it. I love them. Or in Japanese, I love big boobs, sir.
He's a man of culture.
Indeed. And funnily enough, in the show, Lust's boobs do a double bounce, and there's that boing.
And I even love how Roy Mustang notices the homunculus tattoo, and she's like, "Don't stare, it's impolite."
Yep. And as well, Lust gives the rundown that she's a homunculi and that she's human and was created and does have feelings. Stupidly though, she shows how she's living with a philosopher's stone inside of her, which she probably shouldn't have done, but she gives away the secret, and heck, I guess we couldn't have moved the plot along either way, but I think we still could have, but hey, you just gave away one of your major weak points, so sucks to be lost. We'll get to the reason why that is. But either way, they talk. She has a little bit of sympathy, it looks like, for Gene, but really not much for Roy Mustang. But it's fleeting either way for both men. And Roy Mustang brings it up. Did you have anything to do with Lieutenant Colonel Hughes' death? And she says, there was something about it. It's too bad I couldn't question him myself before he. And then she was about to say before he died, but then Roy Mustang just opens up on her big time. Nothing's having an effect. Gene tries to help. Nothing's having an effect. And sadly...
And of course, before he can go for his famous fire snappy, she slices up the what's it called? The sprinkler system and gets him wet.
Yeah.
Literally.
And hilarious, freak out animation, and then they run out of the room. But then, Roy Mustang, being an alchemist, comes up with the way of saying how she created water on the floor. You know what, Havoc? We have an idea here. She created water. I can use transmutation to create steam and hydrogen gas. So then Havoc readies his lighter, and then boom, baby. And then, sadly though, you think Lust is down. Nope. She's still regenerating. She comes out from under a floorboard, stabs poor Gene Havoc right through the spine, and I'm going to say sternum, and, goes through too, so it just doesn't go in. It goes out through the front too, so he goes down and sadly is losing a lot of blood fast. Roy Mustang tries to fight back against her, but she completely like he shoots her with the shotgun, goes down, takes her the Philosopher's Stone out of her body. We think she's completely dead, but then she's regenerating right in Roy Mustang's hand with the horror effect of, you can see her skin regrowing in her skull and the eyes sticking out of her skull. So, bit of a horror moment there, but it was still cool. And, it leads to basically Lust stabbing Roy Mustang in the side, and it's pretty severe to where Roy Mustang was stabbed in an area where he's bleeding out. Lust taunts both men, leaves, says, watch your friend Gene Havoc die, then you can die right after him. And then she goes after Alphonse and Riza Hawkeye. And then, as you can imagine, Hawkeye and Alphonse Elric catch up with Barry the Chopper. He already chopped up his former body pretty much. The body looks pretty dead at this point. All of a sudden, Lust comes in. Barry, I admire his psychotic ingenuity, but just charges right at Lust. Lust chops her name again. Oh, Marta. Marta. So, Marta being killed. Tucker and Nina. And then, who is the third person, Jherick? Do you remember?
I can't, but I know Mace Hughes must have been in that flashback.
No, it was Mace Hughes, because he was with his daughter, so it was Mace Hughes. So, Mace Hughes, Nina, and Tucker, and then, shoot, I just said it. Oh, Marta. There we go. Yes.
And you have to give Alphonse credit. He does try to put up a good fight against Lust, but this is fucking Lust.
Yeah, and she's like shredding his armor to pieces, but then she said, I said she because the voice actor's a girl, but Alphonse says, I refuse to let any more people die under me, and then all of a sudden you hear, well said, Mr. Elric, and then all of a sudden, boom, flame comes out of nowhere, Alphonse puts up a stone wall, and then Lust starts getting torched to death, and you see Roy Mustang, who's there, cauterize the wound in his side, cut a alchemic rune in his hand, and
he's got the lighter, and he's just like, doo.
Yep, and then she's shocked, saying, "How are you still alive? I thought I killed you." Cauterized the wound in my side after I made this rune. Almost passed out. Apparently in Japanese, he says he almost passed out 3 different times, but in English, they went for it once. Personally, after thinking about that, Jherick, I'm glad we only said it once, because saying he almost passed out 3 different times sort of makes no sense.
Yeah, because with that much blood loss, I would think if he almost passes out once, he ain't getting back up.
Yeah, try. Okay, I'm still good, so try again. Okay, good, try.
But I love how Lust notices just how fucking goddamn clever Mustang is. Using the transmutation site on his glove to still do the transmutation for the hydrogen gas. And then when she gets rid of his glove, he's still able to basically kick her ass because he carves the circle into his hand and uses the lighter as the ignition. And
how he carved it into his hand, we don't know, but it's still cool, so I'm not going to nitpick.
Well, it's an underground laboratory. I'm sure there's a lot of
leftover... there were probably a lot of sharp, pokey things around him as he was dying, of course, yeah.
Or as Barry would say, stabby, stabby, stabby.
Mm-hmm. And then, she or Mustang just completely hits Lust again and again and again. And again, credit to, we'll mention the name right now, credit to Kikyo Inoue and Laura Bailey, who voiced Lust. Kikyo Inoue's screams were pretty horrifying, but oh man, Laura Bailey, you sure brought on the pain, and I don't know what you did to get yourself worked up for those scenes, but damn, that was some great acting. Especially the last 2. Those were like, holy crud.
That was, that was hard to watch, but damn, Miss Bailey.
Yep.
Seriously, she went full Rob Halford on that shit.
and then, right at the last one, Lust makes a final charge at Roy Mustang with one of her fingers, going right at his throat, and it's right there at the end. But then the finger looks charred, and Lust has more of her face again. But then, as she starts to disintegrate, and she tells Roy Mustang, you killed me. Give it, and I hate to lose, but given that you're that type of man, I can't blame losing to you, so I'll accept it. But then she's like, that smug look, the satisfaction of revenge, or you getting your justice, I await the day where I, can see it be wiped off your face. That day is coming soon. Coming soon. And, you can tell with that premonition from Lust that something soon is going to happen. So again, it sets up stuff going forward about how this is a much more bigger picture. And of course, Riza Hawkeye and Alphonse Elric go to his side. And, I forgot to, by this time too, Fuhrer Bradley had heard something was going on, so he had shown up, and his troops wanted to join him to help out, but he's like, no, I'm going to help Roy Mustang out myself, and you just see this blood red look. Jherick, didn't you say it looked like there was like, even though Bradley looked a little sad for Lust, it looked like he sort of like gave a tiny little smirk, like he was impressed by the humans' ingenuity?
Well, yeah, because, we know, having known about the series for a long time, we know Bradley can just fuck shit up like no one's business. So for him to see a human, and one that's, under him in terms of the chain of command, be able to take out a homunculus as dangerous as Lust, pretty much solo, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, and it's funny how, but of course, I know why Bradley probably didn't play his hand, because he's the main commanding, president and war chief of this area, so he didn't want to give anything away, so hey, but still, I admit, I saw what Jherick was talking about this time around, because we just finished the English one today, and saw what Jherick was talking about, so it is there, and that is a pretty cool nod how, even though the homunculi don't like humans, there is that tiny bit of respect that they have for them.
Plus, I have to imagine, we know that among the homunculi, there are ones where everybody has their own preferences. Like, apparently, almost nobody likes greed. But I have to imagine Lust would be, arguably the second most disliked, or maybe third most.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, she's a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I have to imagine seeing Roy Mustang kill her and take the arrogance right out of her probably touched Bradley's human heart just a bit.
Yeah, probably. And to that point, it moves on. We have Alphonse coming back to Winry and coming back to Ling Yao, where Winry's waiting for him outside, saying, he'll come back. So he comes back, Winry was worried about him. He was worried about Winry's reaction. And they both given over the top. Well, I'm back. You stupid jerk. Welcome home. And then it's like, they're both having a laugh about it, and then arm falls off. My arm!
Now he can get turned down for becoming a member of the Legion of Superheroes in DC Comics.
And then, right before the episode ends, it cuts to Edward the next day, both with, Heyman's Breda and Alex Louis Armstrong, who brought him back to Resin Bull, and are just saluting him, for everything he's done so far. Probably with reasons I don't need to go into too much, but it was a 3, but I have 4 that I will mention who really stood out. Alphonse Elric, Rie Kugamiya, Maxie Whitehead, Roy Mustang.
Even if just for Laura Bailey, but even Riza Hawkeye's voice actress just fucking owned it.
Travis Willingham too, dude, and I have to agree on. I like I like Aaron Desmouke a little better than Maxie Whitehead, but even Maxie Whitehead brought it in this episode with trying to protect Riza Hawkeye, and also knowing that he wanted to get more involved, and she brought that out, his care and concern, and his little thing with Winry right at the end, that Maxie Whitehead was able to do. So again, all great stuff. And how about you, Jherick? Anything different to add?
I mean, if I have to nail it down to just 2 people for this one, it's gotta be Laura Bailey as Lust, and who did voice the Hawkeye?
Colin Klingenbeard, and Tomiko Rikasa and Colin Klingenbeard, yeah.
I have to hand it to like the English voice actress for Riza when she believes that Roy Mustang's been killed by Lust. The anger, the pain, the sadness. Oh my god, she nailed it.
Just her yelling at that "you bitch." That reminds me of the one that Sigourney Weaver goes, "Mother, turn the cooling unit back on. It will now explode in such and such minutes. You bitch."
And honestly, I mean, god damn, Laura Bailey's scream was so fucking good. It was like right up there with fucking Greed.
Yeah.
I mean, dear, and plus, she played her part as just this cold, calculating, manipulative little you-know-what, but I do love that she kind of softens up a little bit when she's talking to Gene Havoc. Like, she realizes this guy would truly love her, and it would be the closest she would ever have to having true love, but she's Lust. Yeah. It's never going to happen.
And again, maybe that's to our English directing and credit, too, because the Japanese don't always emote on everything because they are not an emotional cult. Well, I should say most Asians of Asian countries, not trying to be racist, but of most Asian countries, they don't focus on emotion as a main thing, but it's there, but they focus on something where it's there, where we love to show empathy, passion, everything. So our emotions, in some ways, as you can imagine, are hard to keep in check. There's a respect in most Asian culture. With us, it's like, there's a respect, but it's like, it pisses off. Ah!
And I have to say this, now having seen 2 homunculi die in this franchise, I noticed there's almost like this sense of both joy and relief when they die. Like when Greed died, yeah, he was kind of like clowning on his homunculi brothers, but it almost felt...
And of course psychotic at the same time.
But there was almost like this sense of relief, and I have to imagine like dying releases them from the sin they're attributed to.
Well,
and you kind of see it with Lust too, like when she's melting away after he gets to her core. There's like, I know it's kind of like a sick sadistic, I can't wait to see you in suffering, but it's almost like she's also realizing I will never have to worry about being this loveless creature now. I'm free from lust.
Well, yeah, but also if you look at it, remember what they saw Father do to Greed. Like Greed was relieved because I think he wanted to give Father a hard time going back into his body. But I'm pretty sure what Lust is like, you did me a favor because I probably know what's going to happen to me at the end of this, and I don't have to go back to him now.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a neat thing because with her, you can tell she definitely prefers to be the one penetrating than to be penetrated.
Well, yes, and of course, like Jherick brought up earlier, she does have sympathy for Gene Havoc, and we did pour on more of the sympathy and empathy in this episode, because in the Japanese, they sort of go through it really quickly, like how she says, I have human emotions and I have...
Scratching at the symbol, which of course undoes the transmutation, and it kind of looks like at the last minute, the soul gets reconnected to the body, and the body just gives out afterwards.
Yeah. Well, because like he was saying, the body was dead and decaying, and it's like the last bit of good humanity of Barry the Chopper just saying, I'm done with this. Because when his body was doing it, whatever animal or whatever was in Barry the Chopper was in tears as he was doing it. Like there was a sadness and a sympathy saying, let me just end this for both of us.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of odd how these tortured people kind of find their release at the end.
Well, because again, is death really the end, or is there more to it?
Yeah, let's just say there's going to be spoilers about that later on in the series, but, foreshadowing.
Yep. And also as well, we sort of gone a lot over it, so I'll make the final thoughts really quick. But, again, great episode, great action, great character development. The music is pretty damn good in this episode, and just everything came well together.
Yep. It's, and again, I love how seamless the transitions from, like, how they do the voices to the facial expressions. Because again, Winry is just such an absolute boss with this. You know, her voice matching up with the facial expressions, everything. It's dear God, Elric is going to be one lucky man down the road. Let's just say.
Well, again, and great performances by Winry being Megumi Takamoto and Caitlin Glass, so can't complain there. And but again, what do you guys think? Have you guys been along with us for this ride? Have you seen anything of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood yet? If not, just leave us a comment on this episode down below, and we will get back to you again. Hopefully, I don't think it'll be really soon, but hopefully pretty soon we'll get back to you with another review. Me and Jherick are hoping we'll be better in time for the next movie review, since we usually trade off between anime and movie reviews. So hopefully by the next movie review, we'll be in better health and in better spirits. So, until then, guys, this is 012 Boku and
Jherick the Jackass.
And we'll see you again later, alright? Deuces.
Deuces.